Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Dakota, the place where we dig through the dusty corners of corporate filings to find the glint of truth. And today we have a report from Wilson Bank Holding Company that might just tell us how the bank is truly doing on the ground. Alright, so Wilson Bank Holding Company dropped a little update on the 10th of October 2025, and it is a pretty common type of filing called an 8K. Think of it as a special announcement for when something important happens at a company that investors need to know about right away. In this case, they re-sharing their earnings for the first 9 months of the year 2025. The main event here is that they sent out a shareholder letter. This letter is basically the company talking directly to its owners, its shareholders, and giving them the lowdown on how the bank performed financially through the first 3 quarters of 2025. It's not a super deep dive like a quarterly or annual report, but it gives us a snapshot. This 8K form is essentially just telling everyone that the shareholder letter exists and is being provided. It's like saying, hey, in case you missed it, here is the information our company is giving out about its performance. So the real meat of the story, the actual numbers and the analysis of those numbers, would be inside that shareholder letter. Unfortunately, this 8K filing itself doesn't contain those financial details directly. It just points us to the letter. Now, what does this mean for us as observers of the corporate world? Well, an 8K filing like this is often used by companies to comply with regulations, especially when they're re-announcing something like earnings or major business events or changes in leadership. It's there to ensure transparency, but the real insight, the detailed financial performance, is usually in an attached document or a referenced letter. Usually these earnings letters will highlight key financial figures such as revenue growth, profit margins, and perhaps how the bank is managing its loan portfolio, which is super important for a bank. They might talk about things like net interest income, that's the money a bank makes from lending, and compare it to their interest expenses on deposits. They could also touch upon their asset quality, which means how likely it is that the loans they've made will be repaid. For Wilson Bank Holding Company being a bank holding company, its success hinges on how well its banking subsidiaries are doing. This means looking at deposit growth, loan origination, and the overall economic environment that affects borrowers. A report like this, even without the full financials attached to the 8K, signals that the company is providing its stakeholders with updates. Let's think about what might be in that shareholder letter. They could be celebrating strong loan growth, which would mean they are lending more money out, a good sign if those loans are being repaid. Or they could be reporting challenges, maybe a slowdown in lending or an increase in loans that are becoming difficult to collect. They might also discuss their strategies for the future, how they plan to tackle market changes, or expand their services. Given that this is just an 8K, it's more about the formal announcement than the deep financial narrative. The real story is in that letter they sent to shareholders. So while we don't have the exact numbers here, we know the company is making its performance public knowledge, which is a good first step for investor confidence. We'll have to imagine what kind of news they shared, whether it was rosy or a bit more challenging based on this formal notification. So, to wrap up our look at this 8K filing from Wilson Bank Holding Company, it's a notification that they've shared their 9-month earnings information with shareholders. It's a standard regulatory move, but it points to a deeper story in the accompanying letter. While this specific document doesn't give us the juicy financial details, it tells us the company is communicating its performance. We can infer that the shareholder letter likely contains the important numbers about revenues, profits, and perhaps how they are navigating the banking landscape in 2025. It is always about looking beyond the initial filing to the actual information being conveyed. Now, looking at these results more broadly, Wilson Bank Holding Company appears to be following standard communication protocols for publicly traded entities. Their adherence to filing an 8K for earnings updates demonstrates a commitment to regulatory compliance and timely disclosure. While the specifics of their financial performance are not detailed within this particular filing, the act of issuing the shareholder letter itself suggests an effort to keep investors informed. This builds a baseline of trust and transparency that is fundamental for any financial institution. We'll have to wait and see if the market reacts positively or negatively once those full details from the shareholder letter become widely accessible. Alright, that is our breakdown of Wilson Bank Holding Company's latest filing. What is your take on the importance of these 8K notifications, and what are you looking for in shareholder letters? Drop your thoughts in the comments if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.